Welcome to today's episode, where we dive into the world of high-impact video marketing with Justin Godsey, founder of Godsey Creative. Discover how Justin helps over 150 business owners, founders, and CEOs expand their reach through strategic content creation. We'll explore the journey from a one-man videography service to a thriving agency model and how AI tools are revolutionizing the way we work. Stay tuned for insights on building a personal brand and the latest trends in authentic content creation. Welcome, Justin. Thanks for being on the show. So to start off with, tell us, tell our audience, let us know, who you are and your agency.
Awesome. Well, yeah, I appreciate you having me. Thanks for having me on. This is awesome. Excited to chop it up today. I run, like you said, my name is Justin Godsey. I run Godsey Creative. We are a content marketing agency out here in Phoenix, Arizona, really helping business owners, founders, CEOs expand their reach through the power of high impact video marketing, basically. So we're really focused on quality, but strategy as well, consistency, and really just, like I said, expanding that reach for those business owners, those founders, those CEOs who maybe understand the value and the power of marketing their business and building their brand, but don't have the time or the energy or the know-how to get that done at a high level. And so that's what we specialize in, is bringing that out of them and helping them do that through pretty much a done for you service is what we offer.
Okay. Yeah. Do you have different tiers?
We do. Yeah. So our service is called the Signature Video Stack, and it is done for you. I always say done for you doesn't mean done without you, though. And so we work really closely with each client individually, but it's really designed to not have to spend too much of their time on what we do together. It's really like 4 to 5 hours a month that we need them. Most of that is on the day that we're shooting the content with them. And then a little bit of that is a monthly strategy call, review call, that type of thing. But we do have 3 different tiers to it. So one is kind of like an entry level tier where they're coming in, they just need to get started on content. Maybe they're at level 0 right now and they're trying to get from 0 to 1. And we really just try to help build that brand and get them started. And then there's other people that are maybe at like a level 1. They want to go 1 to 100, right? They want to go to the next level. And we have some of our 2 upper tiers are more specialized in that. There's more content, there's more time involved, longer shoot days, right? More content that comes out of it. We then start digging into ads and all of that as well. So it really is a 3-tier system based on their needs and their goals.
Yeah. Nice. Now, when you're collecting content, like, do your clients like give you content, or do you have like a shoot day, or that? How does that work?
Yeah, we pretty much shoot everything for them. So it's all kind of net new content. That doesn't mean we don't repurpose, reuse, repackage content that we've shot, a couple months back and repurpose it or repost it. But we have a certain level that we're trying to achieve with what we're doing with them. And so, sometimes people say, hey, I was on this podcast a couple of years ago, or I did this piece of content myself. Can we use that? Sometimes, yeah, if it kind of matches the goal and matches the level of what we're trying to execute on. But primarily it's all net new content that we're creating on a monthly basis for them.
Okay. And you go on site, or they come to you? Like, how does that work?
Yeah. So we'll either go meet them where they're at, or we have multiple times rented like a space that kind of fits the aesthetic of what we're going for. Maybe they're a CEO and they want like a boardroom setting. And so we find, some either studio that looks like that, or some actual space in some co-working space that we can use, or they're an interior designer and they want to be in like, maybe one of their projects is in the framing stage, but they need like a nicely decorated home. So we go rent some Airbnb or something like that, or they can come to us. So I just moved, so I'm in the process of building a new home studio, but I did have a studio in my other home that we would do more for like podcasts and setups like that. Huge value in having that. I believe they want to come, like a lot of people don't have that in their own home. So now in my new house, we're building out a much bigger podcast studio, content space, all that. So,
oh, that's sweet. Yeah. And your wife's okay with that?
Yeah, I mean, we bought the new house kind of with that in mind. When it's like this, it's perfect because the house we bought was the lady that owned it before us used this space as an art studio. So I'm actually in the office that's offset of the studio, and it was an add-on. It was an add-on to the home anyway. So
yeah,
we're using these 1,000 square feet for the business. That's for sure.
Okay. Yeah, I threw an idea like that to my wife, and she's like, "No, I don't want strangers coming to my house."
Yeah, I mean, I even feel that same way. Luckily, this is kind of like detached. They don't really have to go into the main part of the house, but
that is nice.
Usually it's clients that aren't necessarily strangers too. So I think that softens the blow a little bit.
Yes.
But yeah.
That's good. I guess, how did Godsey Creative get started? Like, what was what inspired you to start the agency and the focus here?
Yeah, I mean, if we go in the Wayback Machine, it definitely wasn't an agency to start. I kind of started the business by accident. So 2017, 2018, I was in the real estate space, just a real estate agent selling homes, kind of getting my feet wet in the entrepreneurial world. I had been doing that for a few years. And that's when I kind of felt the wave of video coming on. I think it's one of the few times in my life where I was like, I saw something before other people and I saw an opportunity and kind of wanted to jump on it. But selfishly, it was for me, right? I wanted to get really good at creating video content early. Like I've always, in a past life, I was in a band and I always believed in like marketing and being on social
Nice.
media, all of
Yeah.
that kind of thing. But particularly with video, I wanted to start creating video content as a real estate agent, but I didn't have anybody that could do it at the level that I wanted to around me. I'd hire
Mhm.
people and I'm like, I hate how this looks, doesn't look
Yeah.
good. And so I picked up a camera, honestly, an iPhone camera at first, and a few filmmaking courses and learned how to use it. I was just filming anything and everything. But then I needed people. So I started, like my colleagues in real estate, I started shooting real estate listing videos for them and they were liking it. And it's funny, my phone, I learned these skills to enhance my real estate career and my phone started ringing, but it was from other real estate agents calling me to help market their business as opposed to other people helping me or calling me to list their homes. And so it was just kind of like a signal that I took. I'm like, well, there's something here, right? And so I started kind of organizing it as an actual videography business, named it LLC, all that kind of stuff around 2020. And it started booming. I mean, COVID kind of shut a lot of
Nice.
people down, but for me, I mean, servicing real estate agents that were still selling homes when real estate was really popping back then.
Yeah.
Like there was no shortage of demand for what I had to
Uh,
offer. And so that
yeah.
was kind of my launching point. But through the years, I was like, I didn't want to just be shooting real estate listing videos for people. And
Yeah.
so it kind of transitioned to, hey, let me help you on a retainer basis create content for social media for these agents. And then it was like, I don't
Mhm.
only want to work with real estate agents. And so yeah, I started expanding into small businesses and we did some commercials and it just,
Mhm.
it's grown over the years. And in the last 18 to 24 months, there were some things within my family and my son's health that really made me want to
Mhm.
change to a more sustainable, more scalable model. And that's where
Yeah.
sought out help to kind of transition to that agency model. And I mean, it's been exponential growth in the last 2 years and we're really working at a much higher clip at this point.
Nice.
But that's where I wanted to take it. I needed a reality check a little bit. I think I was just like, I hate to say it, but resting on laurels in the business. It was good,
Yeah.
maybe 200K a year consistently, and that's good. That was really good. But I had dreams to get it to another place, and so like I said, in the last 2 years, we've really dug into systems and processes and hiring and really productizing an offer to turn it into a real legitimate agency that we're now scaling.
Yeah. Love it. Love it. Thank you. Do you still remember your first client? What that was like?
Yeah, yeah. Actually, one of my very first clients is now one of our agency clients, and he's been with us through all the iterations of the business, and he has grown exponentially as
Love
well.
it.
And he stays pretty consistent. Actually, my very two first clients are still with us. So
Nice.
the funny thing is looking back at the content we created then to the content we create now, massive growth as well. But yeah, it's
Yeah.
nice to know that like some of the OGs from the very beginning are still very much ingrained in some of our top clients that we have.
Yeah. Yeah. Now, one of the most stressful things for a lot of businesses as they grow and they evolve is like raising prices. Have you had to raise prices over the past 6 years?
For sure. I mean, when I first started, I think I was charging like $150 a video and I was scared to do that, right?
Wow. Yeah.
It was like, hey, I'll do your listing video for $150. And I remember the first time with the very first client I signed, it wasn't making sense. I'm like, wait a second, like this is what you're paying me on a monthly basis and this is what I'm giving you. And now I'm getting more and more people that want to come in. So I had to have that hard conversation. And at first he pushed back and then he understood. Right. And so then
Yeah.
that taught me like, okay, this is what your time is worth. And over time,
Yeah.
as the business has scaled and the business has grown, you get confidence in that. And then just understanding your worth and your value
Yeah.
and the demand, right? Like you
Yeah.
can't,
Yeah.
I don't have a problem with that now. I understand kind of where we're at in the market and what we can charge, but definitely was scary in
Yeah.
the beginning to do that. But I think having the confidence and knowing the value that you provide helps soften that blow a little bit.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So like in the beginning, you're selling like per video. Are you still kind of selling per video? I know you talked about like the packaging and the different tiers. Is your like positioning and the way you sell a lot different now?
Yeah. Yeah. No, it was definitely like a per video videography service based
Mm.
thing, 6 years ago when 6, 7, 8 years ago when the business started. We don't really do a lot of one-off projects as much anymore. We do have clients that we still, they're legacy clients. They've been around for a long time. I've got a
Mhm.
couple luxury real estate agents that'll call me to to have us come out and market their properties. But for the most part, our main focus and our main positioning now is like we're a strategic content partner for a large producing founder, CEO, business owner, right? And we're coming in and they're kind of installing us into their business as their marketing team without being an actual hire or somebody that they have to manage.
Yeah.
And so we don't necessarily focus on those one-off or deliverable based projects anymore. I do have a couple of videographers on my team that, if we do get an inquiry and it's worth I don't want to say worth their time, but if it's something that, they're interested in, then I can refer them to them, because we do obviously still have a pretty large network of people that are looking for one-off projects.
Yeah.
But that's definitely not our main focus or how we position ourselves anymore.
Yeah. Actually, so since you mentioned videographers, so what's your operation look like? You and videographers, contractors, like what's your team setup?
Yeah. So it's me kind of running the operation. And for a long time, it was just me, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you can only go so far by yourself. So I have a couple editors on our team now. My sister kind of runs our social media management, as well as some client success and a little bit of content strategy as well. I still work very closely with a lot of, especially our original clients, on strategy, a lot of the execution. We have a couple of videographers that we'll go send out to kind of shoot content, and I'm not above shooting the content myself still. Honestly, eventually we'll get a little bit out of fulfillment to continue to focus on building the business, client relationships, marketing, all that kind of stuff. But I would say our team is still relatively lean. Because we've been able to implement some AI tools and some automations and the systems that help us stay relatively lean. But as we continue to scale, obviously, I believe in hiring good people and people that can execute at a high level. So like I said, we've recently brought on another editor. Probably will bring on another editor, because we're putting out anywhere currently 250 to 350 pieces of short form content per month right now.
Wow.
And as we continue to scale, obviously that capacity will need to go up, and we'll need more editors on board for that. But yeah, I would say team of like 5 to 6 right now. Within the next 6 months or so, we'll probably have to get that to 8 to 10 for where we're trying to go and the goals that we have, but also trying to keep it as lean as possible too, and getting the most out of each individual person.
Yeah. So I guess, of course, running lean is key, maximizing your margins. How are you able to maximize, I guess, like volume or production, value per person?
Definitely everybody just kind of knowing their role, knowing their expectations. I would say that's something we're still working on, right? Like we're always evolving. How can we be better? How can we get the most out of what we have? But also having truly defined systems and everybody knowing how those systems work, and only having a designed goal and system for how each individual person runs, I guess is what I'm trying to say. So our videographers, they are prepared by my sister and myself, setting them up for success. So when they go to the shoot on the day, everything is completely ready for them. All they need to do is execute what we laid out for them. And then when they're done with the shoot, they come and they drop everything for the editors in a very defined system. And so that the editors aren't guessing, they're not waiting on details, because it's just defined very clearly. Here's the inspiration for what we're shooting. Here's what we shot. Here's all the notes, right? The videographer knows how to pass everything off to the editor very cleanly. And then the editors, which we've very arduously built a system for them on expectations, how to, the briefs that they get and the timelines that they're expected, the quality that is expected of them, and then the system for review and revisions and all that kind of stuff. So again, it's always a work in progress, but the biggest thing I've learned is like having true defined systems and roles in place is what helps you maximize. So that's what we're continuously focusing on. And if we find a little hole that we got to fix and patch up because, this is slowing us down or this is a bottleneck, then we figure it out right away, as opposed to letting it just continue to be a hole or a bottleneck.
Okay. Yeah. I love that. Thank you. You mentioned AI, right? You can't get away from it. It's everywhere, right? Can't get away, but we should all embrace it, right? Yeah. There's like all these like negative stories about, AI is replacing all of us, right? So, but also on the other side, right? You and I, we've experienced the positive side of AI too. Huge production gains, right? When it works.
Yeah.
Right. So I'd love to hear like your personal experience, with AI and with your organization. What has worked extremely well and what has completely failed?
Yeah. So definitely, I would say the biggest change for us when it came to AI actually being, I would say, like an employee or a very pivotal and important piece of our business is when I made the switch to Claude. So ChatGPT was great. It was a great place to start, but I I feel like pretty early on. I think there's still people that are ChatGPT fanboys and love it. I can't even open the app anymore. I can use the image generation for stuff, but I literally cannot use ChatGPT. I just do not like it. Made the switch to Claude pretty early this year. I would say probably before the hype is when I made the switch, but definitely the hype and a lot of changes around when the hype built February, March-ish, and they've shipped a lot of really good products is what kind of changed it. So Claude Cowork.
Yeah, so I was about to say, so there's Claude, but then there's, well, Anthropic makes Claude, but Claude there's different versions, right? So you're using the Cowork version.
Yeah.
So for those that don't know, what exactly is the Cowork piece of it?
I mean, again, I don't consider myself any sort of coder or engineer or anything like that, but there's Claude Chat, which is a chatbot, right? And then
very similar to GPT.
Yep, very similar. And then there's Claude Cowork, then there's Claude Code. The way I understand it is Claude Cowork is a easier to use version of Claude Code, right? And basically what I look at it just like it says, it's a coworker, right? And so I go in there and that's where I can have it do a lot of things for me. For instance, I have an automation where when we post our clients' content to social media for them, there's a process to get it there, right? And a human could take that piece of content, the video, the actual file, open up Instagram, upload the video, write the caption, hit post, all of those things, right? There's lots of steps in there that a human would need to do. But what we've done is we just put all of the pieces in different parts of our project management software, which is Notion. And then we use Zapier for automations, and we use Claude to kind of put it all together, right? And so a piece of content gets finished by an editor, and it's all within Notion. So it all just like gets filtered down from editing to approved to ready to post, right? And so telling you this to show you where Claude Cowork comes in, but when it gets moved to ready to post, basically everything in there is already ready. And so the file is in there, the thumbnail is in there, the caption is in there, the post date and time is in there, and all of that is ready to go. We use currently, I don't even know, by the time people are watching this, we may switch because we switch a lot, but right now we use Metricool to schedule our content for our clients. And so to get it from Notion to Metricool, you need obviously to use an automation tool like Zapier, however people say it, right? But to set all that up, there's a lot of nuance, right? And there's a lot of time. So this is where something like Claude Cowork comes in. I go to Cowork and I say, hey, I need you to help me set up this automation to get from Notion to Zapier to Metricool. Claude Cowork just says, okay, and does it. Like, that's the coolest part. Wow. Opens up Google Chrome, and you can literally watch it just operate your computer, operate the internet, go fix things. And then, so this is where it's an unlock for me is I have a screen over here where Claude Cowork or sometimes Claude Code, I kind of think they can do the same thing, but it's operating over here. It's running an internet window over here for me. It's setting up that, client portal to move everything over. It's just working. It's just doing its thing. It tells you what it's doing. Oh, I ran into this problem. Let me see if I can fix this. Right. And it's just doing it. But I'm over here doing another piece of business, right? I'm working on something else. And so Claude Cowork is just like another person basically sitting over here doing a job that I need done while I'm doing something else.
All the tedious stuff too.
Right. And you can also have Claude Cowork working on multiple different things in multiple different windows at different times. So you're exponentially being able to maximize your output with that, right? And so the cool thing about Claude Cowork is you still talk to it like a chatbot, but it has a lot more power, and there's skills and there's plugins and all these. Now, I mean, people that don't understand it are going to be, pretty confused. But one other like example of what I use it for is I have clients that need to be scheduled out, for 4 months, right? We get off a call. We're like, all right, normally I would say like, I'll have my assistant reach out to you and get you scheduled. I've built a scheduling agent within Claude Cowork, and all I have to say is go get Dave's schedule for the next 4 months for a strategy call and a content day. And it knows based on what I've taught it one time, I built out the skill. It goes, checks my calendar, puts holds on my calendar, sends an email to the client. And then when the client responds, it goes, takes the holds off for the days that they didn't need, and then puts the official calendar in there, calendar invite in there. So it's basically just a scheduling agent that I built through Cowork. Again, I don't have to go find all those times. I don't have to pay an assistant to go find all those times. Claude Cowork does that for me.
And so also to help bring more clarity for our listeners, we're hearing all these different tools like Notion and Google, I don't know if you're using Google Calendar or some sort of calendar system. Well, Claude itself, it's just like a new employee, right? You have to give it access, right?
Yep.
So are you giving access to Claude Cowork, like all of these tools, right? Notion and Zapier, right?
Never
And
know
all these other tools,
implementation.
right? But also on top of that, you're giving it access to your browser too, right? You have the Cowork extension. So if it can't use these direct integrations, it would go into your browser and start looking at the screen by screen, and clicking through to pull in the necessary data, right? Or execute whatever it needs to do.
Yep. Yeah.
So is there, like, for those that are listening that's never have done this before, and I was actually in the beginning, I was like this too. I was kind of terrified. Like, oh my God, I'm giving some AI agent like full control over not only my computer, but all of these tools that I have full admin rights to. So if something goes bad, they could just wipe out all my data, right? Or start, you hear these horror stories of people like starting, like these agents starting to delete all these emails or stuff like that. Do you worry about these things, or is this kind of like all blown out of, like context?
I mean, whether it's blown out of context or not, I have no idea. It's definitely a real fear as well. I wouldn't consider myself any sort of data, whatever. I don't know how to protect it any more than anybody else does. The one thing I will say is, I mean, a company like Anthropic, they pride themselves on security and all that stuff. Obviously, there's still risks involved. But for
Yeah.
me, what I did is I kind of took some time to understand how you can best protect yourself. Like, don't give it full access to your computer, give it access to a certain folder that it's going to be working within, right?
Yeah.
And then also using Claude as opposed to using like an open claw where I have no idea. Now, I think that that's been reined in a little. I think OpenAI acquired them, and maybe it's been reined in a
Yeah.
little bit. But tools that are like people are buying a whole new Mac to use and all that kind of stuff. Like,
Yeah.
I don't know anything about
Yeah.
that type of AI work, and so I don't dabble in that. Right? I would
Yeah.
be too
Yeah.
scared that I'm exposing myself to risk. But in the beginning I was like, okay. Also, like with Claude, you can give it full computer access, or something like
Mm-hmm.
Perplexity has like computer access. And I haven't fully dived into that yet because I don't know that I necessarily 100% trust or understand how to use it properly. And I don't want to
Yeah.
expose myself to risk.
Yeah.
But I think if you generally ask questions, I'll still even ask Claude, like, hey, is doing this safe, or should I be worried about anything? I learned at one point, like, don't put your exact API keys
Yeah. Don't put it in chat.
into the chat, put them into an actual folder, right? And on the
Yeah.
computer, and it like codes it a certain way, right? So if there's anything like I don't understand or that I'm worried about, number one, I'll ask Claude. Number two, I'll do a Google search, or ultimately I'll just revert back to like, let me just do this one myself, as opposed to just fully trusting the system.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, it's scary. Like, you're giving these machines and these companies so much information, but what are you going to
Yeah.
do, right? I feel like Apple's already got all of our information, and
Yeah.
Google's got all of
Yeah.
our information. I look at it similarly to that. But yeah, I mean, if somebody gets hacked or the systems get hacked, then what are we going to do, right? There's a lot of
Yeah.
people that are going to be in trouble at that point. So
Yeah. I mean, you gotta weigh your really your risks, right? And everyone's, you know, your competitors, other organizations, everyone's incorporating AI. And if you're the one that's not, it's like saying when the internet first came out, I decided not to use the internet.
yeah, right.
But what's going to happen then, right? I guess so. These are some amazing, and thank you for so much for sharing. All the great use cases, what's worked great, and what I'm hearing is, great for scheduling, great for organization, great for updating your project management system. All these things are great. What are some of the things that are not so great? Like, you tried it, and you're like, no, not cutting it. Still doing it manual, or still doing it the old way because AI just is not there yet. Like, what are one of those things?
Yeah, I mean, I think like creativity in general, like if you have not a single creative bone in your body, then yeah, maybe it can help you be a little bit more creative. You can create some scripts for videos, or you can generate an image for something. But even if the better the input, the better the output, right? And so
Yeah.
for me, I think what a lot of people get trapped in is like, write me a script on XYZ. And then they take it and they're like, this sounds perfect. But they don't know that actually it sounds like every other person. And you'll see it. We all see it. Anybody that actually pays attention to what people are consistently posting on social media,
Mm-hmm.
people that work within AI tools and see like the output that they get, or the responses that they get. They're like, okay, I can spot that AI pattern a mile away. Pretty much every newsletter that I get from everybody that I'm subscribed to is all written by AI. They don't put their own spin on it at this point, which is fine, I guess. But to me, it's like, it's not very good at out of the box writing for you. It's going to fall back on patterns that it's trained on. It's going to look like it was written by an author for written literature, like a book or a website or a blog, not spoken word narrative on screen. So like what we specialize in, like creating spoken content, everything starts with most people. It's always, it's not this, it's that. That's not because of this, it's because of that. Like all of those the M dashes, right? Everything that anybody that talks about AI writing will point out to you. And I've realized those things. Like I'll look back at content and scripts that I did a year ago and I'm like, man, I was really just drinking the Kool-Aid and following the script with AI. But now I think that's one of the main things that it needs, that needs human touch on. And I think that people that are just getting into using it to create scripts are kind of like shooting themselves in the foot because they're not realizing that, or they didn't start using AI 1, 2, 3 years ago. And so they're like, oh, I'm on the train now. It's like, well, you just sound like a robot.
Yeah.
So to me, it doesn't mean it can't write for you, but there's skills and guidelines and instructions and master prompts that you should use to get the output that actually sounds like you. And then ultimately don't just settle for what it gives you. I've even still to this day been guilty of like, I did something quick and then I look at it and like, that has most people. This isn't that, it's that. It's like, it's still,
it's like AI.
Don't want to be in there. So the human filter on, especially spoken word narrative that you're trying to get out, and even just written, like I lose interest. I wouldn't say I lose like necessarily credibility, but like I get these emails every morning from, a creator that I admire, and then I open it and I can tell that AI wrote it. And it's like, that doesn't move the needle for me anymore. If every single thing that you're pushing out to me is just written by AI, I get like the point that you were trying to make, but you put nothing into that. So why am I?
Exactly. Like, is there any value?
It's just kind of a fluff piece. And I think a lot of people are trying to do that to maximize their output, where I think that you could like pull back your output a little bit, but just put yourself into it. Don't just fully let it write for you.
Yeah.
That's where I see it being the biggest thing. I am a big proponent of AI. Like I don't put a lot of things down on it, but when people just fully rely on what it writes for them, I'm checked out. Like I just can't do it.
Yeah. I mean, you're completely right. And the way I look at it is just like working with AI is actually not that different than working with a new hire, right? Yeah. It's like, if you just, I talk about either, you want to delegate, you don't want to abdicate. And when people just like, here's a prompt and, do this thing, and then they copy the first answer and then they just dump it in or upload it wherever, that's abdicating. Like they're just completely checked out. But the proper way to do it, just like working with new hires, is okay, well, let me give you a prompt, or let me give you some instructions, right? Come back, like, why did it come out this way? And you start fixing it, right? You don't just correct it once. You start building in an AI world that's called a skills.md file, right? So you start updating the tweet skills. You start making, more in-depth processes, so it's more consistent. And then you can have the volume, but now you don't sound like an AI agent or AI bot online, but it takes time to get there, right?
Yeah. And that was something for me when I was like first getting into Claude. I'm like, okay, skills, what is that? Plugins, what are that? Connectors, what are that? I mean, go watch YouTube videos. That's the same way I started my videography business in the first place, is I wanted to be the best at it. And so I went and I watched a bunch of YouTube videos on what aperture was, what ISO was, what shutter speed was, right? And to me, I started at ground zero. I told my wife literally like a year ago, I feel like I'm learning just like I was in 2018, learning about how to become a videographer. I am all in on AI now. And like you just said, I'm sure 95% of people still don't know what an MD file is, or what a skill is, or what a master prompt is. They just like chat with the AI and take what the AI gives back. But to me, like when I heard MD for the first time, I was like, what's MD? Oh, it's a markdown file. Oh, okay. That makes sense, right? And you put it all together, and even like updating your MD file. So I have skills that, I run. It does a script writing skill, right? And then I don't like what it did, and then I fix it, and then I'll tell the AI, hey, update the MD file so that this doesn't happen next time. And then it goes and updates that. So when it pulls that skill again, it doesn't make the mistake again, right?
Yeah.
So
yeah. And man, if only people, we can ask people to do that, right?
That would be amazing.
That'd be amazing, right?
Yeah. That would be amazing.
But I have personally for me with AI fails though they do hallucinate. I don't know if you've experienced that. Like there's in the AI world, there's this thing called a context window, right? It's almost like for our brain, like imagine the morning and you have to store everything in memory. And by the end of the day, you're just like, what, what did I have this morning? What did I have last night? Right. And then you basically run out of space, right, in your mind. And that's like the context window. There's a smart sliver. I think it's like a 30% mark, right? When you prompt. But once you go beyond 30%, the AI actually gets dumber. And then when it runs out of context window, it has to compile, right, everything, summarize everything, so it gives you more time. So I've had times where it completely hallucinates, and I'm like, and I call it out. I'm like, wait a minute, this is not right. And then they say the words, yeah, you're right. Yeah. How did I miss that? Right. Let me go fix it. Right. I'm like, well, why didn't you catch it in the first time? Right.
Yeah, and that's something that I think I was actually just one of my good friends was over here the other night asking me to help him set up Claude for his business a little bit. And another thing that people may or may not be familiar with is projects within either Cowork or Code, but chat as well. And if you set up a project, that's like a dedicated place that you can work on. For me, I have one for each individual client. I have a project set up. And so within that project, there's like a master brain that understands that specific client, and then instructions for that specific client, and maybe some MD files or PDFs that it can pull from. And that project is for working on that specific client.
Yeah.
Even within that context window can run out. And so that's what he didn't understand, was he'd just been chatting in this one chat within
one giant session
within that. Whereas like for me, let's just say one way that I'll break it down is like, if we're coming up with strategy for the month of June for that client, we'll start a new window, and that's June content strategy. We had a May content strategy. We had an April content strategy. Or if it's like, hey, we're going to create this style, like these are the talking head videos that we're going to create for this client. So we're going to do only talking head content in this window. So then you're separating the different contexts. You're not overloading one chat window. And again, I think that's a good point that you made that a lot of people don't know, is you only have that context window. I recently found out, I think Claude changed some things when Opus 4.8 came out. I don't know if you've run into this, but all of a sudden all my Sonnet 4.6 context windows were hitting that like 1 million context, and it was saying, you're out of credits, you can't keep talking in here. And this happened. I went on Reddit and I was like, what is going on here? And it's something that changed within the way that Anthropic is setting it up now. So now I had to change it to, like, most of my windows are Opus 4.8, but at medium thinking or reasoning.
Okay.
So there's like a lot. I don't know. You might run into it if you're using Claude here pretty soon.
Yeah.
For me, the fix was like, literally, I would start a new window, and it's like I talk for like 3 seconds, and it's like, you're already out of it. I'm like,
yeah.
I have the max plan. I got 20x. I got paid $200 a month. I wrote I wrote 3 words and I'm already running out. But it's
dang. I heard sometimes they secretly, like, Anthropic would lower the threshold, like how many credits you actually get. It's still here's my worry, is that it's all of this, like Anthropic, OpenAI, it's fully subsidized right now. So like if you convert like with the actual subscription of the $200 a month, I heard it was upwards to like $4,000 to $5,000 worth of API calls if it was converted. But so that means it's all subsidized. So what if one day they just pull the rug under us? You're like, you know what? I know you bought into it. You're paying $200, but we're going to charge you $1,500 now.
Yeah.
Right.
That's the scary thing that we rely. I think about that all the time too. Or if they pull like some, you know what, there's a regulation now. We can't have these MCP servers in it. It's like, whoa. I got to change my entire system now because I rely on, like, I don't know, one thing could change. Like, that's the scary part of it.
Yeah.
Let's hope that they only make it easier and not harder, because
like I just saw an article. I think Microsoft is telling their employees, like, we got to move away from Anthropic. It's too expensive. It's costing us too much money. And they're making all their employees move to something else. Same thing with like Meta and all these other companies. They're trying to find a cheaper solution because the cost of AI is climbing up now to the cost of hiring a full-time employee and more now. And I think there's definitely a balance, right? I think people are now, because they're learning, they don't know what AI can do. So they're just burning tokens, right? Burning AI credits to figure it out. But I think eventually it will kind of balance out, and better technology will come out, hopefully.
That's another thing. That's another thing that's another thing I focus on. Like as of even this morning, I'm on Gemini, Claude, and Perplexity for certain things, right?
Yeah.
I mean, Manus I haven't really gotten into, but the other night there was an issue with Claude, and I went over to Perplexity. I'm like, can you start telling me about how you operate a little bit? Like, how similar are you to Claude? Like, if I need to switch my whole business over, like, and they aren't the same, it would be a whole different learning curve. But I try to use a few of the different tools for different things and stay up to date on what they can do. And honestly, I spend a little bit of money in each of them just to, just to have my foot in the door. Because I mean, ChatGPT was the only thing I was using, and then it just once Claude came out, I'm like, well, I'm switching it. And luckily they made it easy to make the switch. Like, write the right prompt, all of the memory goes over. And I felt like day one, I was just like, now Claude understands me, right?
Yeah.
But, if Anthropic pulls the rug or something changes or it sucks all of a sudden, like, do I need to use Perplexity? Do I need to use Gemini? So I'll try to stay up to date with a few of the different tools, just so that, I'm familiar, I guess.
Yeah. Well, as of today, beginning of June 2026, my recommendation for that is, because you're using Claude, the next closest thing is actually Codex. So it's still made by OpenAI, but OpenAI has a tool called Codex, and Codex is the competitor to essentially Cowork and Claude Code. And so you have the desktop download, you have the projects, and that's what I primarily use. And I still have a subscription to Claude, just so, I understand what's, because this is dance, right? One model is going to be better than the other. Some are better at certain things than others. And of course, I still use my Gemini for simple prompting and a little bit of, anything in the Google ecosystem. But in general, either Claude, Codex or Claude.
Yeah, I've heard good things about Codex. Haven't fully dove into it. I'm like kind of anti OpenAI right now, just because I don't know why. I feel like it was like a bad breakup. I relied so much on ChatGPT, and then all of a sudden I feel like it just took a massive turn of quality when one of the releases came out, that I was like, I'm done. I'm out. I'm done with ChatGPT. And so I like literally have this mental block that I'm like, OpenAI, I'm out. But I've heard really good things about it. GPT Image 2 is a great image generation tool. But I will access that through Higgsfield as opposed to even going into
Okay. Really, like Codex 5.5 is actually pretty good. Like,
I've heard really good things.
Pretty good. Yeah, can't complain. But now the models are getting better. There's actually like even other like Chinese models, like DeepSeek, the open source ones too. I haven't dived too much into that, but majority of it is the mainstream models are working great.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, love it. So let's see. Direction wise, trends wise, in the in the agency world, and I guess businesses in general, right? Where do you see the trends going on social media, on content creation, on video? Like, where do you see the trends?
Yeah, I mean, I think if you're paying attention, we're seeing a huge push towards authenticity in general, less like super hype edits, a lot of like selfie style yapping has got to be the most popular word of 2026.
Talking heads, right?
Talking heads. Yeah. I mean, I personally don't love the push to like, let's put absolutely no polish in our content. Let's not think about what we're saying. And that's what I think like a lot of like the hype is right now, is like, just talk. Right. And I'm like, yeah, but most people don't know how to talk or tell a story or have a framework around what they're trying to say. And so they're just diluting what they're putting out there. I do understand the push for authenticity, especially with AI and all these AI generated avatars. You almost can't even tell the difference anymore. And I will create some content for clients and they're like, well, even somebody said a piece of my talking head content was an AI avatar. Just because it's 4K, nicely lit, and looks really well composed is crazy that now people think it's an AI avatar. It's just like, no, that's actual good quality content. But overall, I do understand why that's becoming a trend, is because people are kind of turned off to over polished, fake looking content. And so to me, obviously leaning into that, you got to lean into where the trends are going and what people are interacting with. You can't just like completely zag. But I do, for me personally, and what I think people should do is like, if everybody's doing that Yap style selfie or FaceTime style video, I'm like, okay, how else can you be authentic without doing what everybody else is doing? And to me, that's leaning more into like conversations or like podcast style content. Not as much scripted, talking to camera, hyper edited content, but like
Yeah.
it could still look good. It can still be entertaining to watch, but it's like a conversation, right? I think people love being a fly on the wall for a piece of content or a piece of a conversation. Sorry. And so leaning into the authenticity, but still figuring out a way to wrap it a little bit different than what everybody's doing. Because the second everybody's doing it, then I mean, you're not standing out whatsoever.
Yeah.
You're just following the herd. But what can you take from what everybody's doing and make it your own? And so that's kind of where I'm trying to position our clients is like, yeah, let's lean into authentic content, but you don't have to just pick up your phone and never put any thought into the content anymore. Let's still put thought into it. Let's still make it look nice. Let's still package it nicely so you stand out. You look like an authority. So that's what I'm seeing, and really trying to help navigate through that. And then as soon as we figure that out, everybody will be back to hyper edits
Yeah. Yeah.
and putting out as much content as possible. Yeah. And then the other thing is just like the algorithms in general. I think people that aren't as educated on how social media works now still create content like for their small tribe or their small following,
Yeah.
whereas that's not really how the algorithms work anymore. And I don't think people fully are realizing that. It's more interest-based media than like social media. And
Yeah.
so people will create a piece of content and say, oh, it's not performing, I'm shadow banned or whatever, but they don't go look at the data and understand that, like, look at who this got pushed out to. Number one, it's most of non-followers. And then did you create a piece of content with that in mind, knowing that it's going to non-followers, that is designed in a way that's got a broad audience, if that's what you're going for? Are you going for views? Okay, well then how are you talking to a broader audience that don't know who you are necessarily? They're not followers, right? This is like data nerd stuff, but I think people don't understand how the algorithms work. They don't understand how to look at the retention graphs and all the analytics behind it that Instagram literally gives to you to look at. And so then they just give up and they think, oh, this doesn't work for me because, nobody cares about me anymore. I'm shadow banned or Instagram doesn't work. When in reality, it's not understanding how it works now. And it has shifted since we all started posting in 2009.
Yeah, yeah. Are there any influencers that you follow or watch that does this pretty well?
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of people out there, right? I'm definitely in the space of like looking at personal brands that are being built. So the easy one to point to is like a Gary Vee, but he's like way up there.
Yeah.
I like to look at even like Dan Martell is building a very fast growing personal brand. But what I like to look at is the guys that are helping him get there. He's the figurehead, right? But there's a powerhouse of people underneath of him that are helping make that happen. So like the Sam Gaudets of the world, Caleb Ralston helped Alex Hermosi. There's other guys out there. There's a guy named Briar Cochran out there right now who's doing some really cool work. And so all these guys are giving away free game on how the system works.
Yeah.
And then they've all got their own offerings on how they can help you get there as well, just like myself and my agency does. But
yeah.
I think the main push here though is understanding that people buy from people at this point, and they want to have a connection with people, not logos. And so those Hermosis and the Martells and the Gary V's, they all understand the power. They understood a long time ago the power of a personal brand, and now those guys underneath them that help them get there are building their personal brands and making content for other people to build their personal brand. And so to me, that is where we're going, is put a lot of effort into building a personal brand as opposed to just building up a company logo. Because again, people buy from people and people want to trust people. And they not only should you be well known, but you should be known well, right? And so that all goes into that personal brand building, positioning, figuring out who you're talking to, why you're talking to them, and how you're helping them with the content that you're creating for them.
Love it. Well, thank you so much. Yeah, this is amazing. Yeah, this is awesome stuff. Well, this pretty much, like just near the end of our time. Actually, we went over time. Appreciate it. But for those that are listening and want to reach out and connect with you, what's the best way?
Yeah, I mean, Instagram is my main driver. So at Justin Godsey or at Godsey Creative is our agency. I post content on both of those, right? Building my own personal brand over at Justin Godsey, and then showcasing what we do for other people at Godsey Creative. So that's the main thing. You visit our website, godseycreative.com. But yeah, just connect, reach out. Love to chat with people. This is what I talk about all day, every day. So I can go over time, anytime, talking about this stuff because I'm passionate about it. So
yeah, same here. Love it. Well, thank you so much. And it'll be in the show notes. So,
awesome.
Thank you, Justin.
Cool. Thank you.